A Look Back on Engineering. Presentation and script by Ethan Ngo and Sophia Ariano. Narration by Ethan Ngo. Hi there, my name is Ethan Ngo, a presenter for this presentation. Sophia, my fellow classmate, and I have worked hard to show you all just exactly what we've learned throughout the year so far. This will be a narrated presentation where I will go over what we have experienced and learned in our Concepts of Engineering course. As I progress, I will show you short bits and explain the major projects and starting points that my classmates and I have accomplished since the beginning of the year until now. The images provided are taken from projects we have completed ourselves. We hope you enjoy it. The Scratch Coding was a coding website that we use in our learning. It was the first major step in our engineering journey. It started off simple for the most part. Our first project, as displayed here, had us completing a task by fixing and adding code to a pre-existing string of codes provided. The Scratch website operated coding by giving you all kinds of commands or blocks to use to accomplish your tasks. These blocks were mainly used to control sprites, which were basically images that could be manipulated for many purposes. By using various commands or blocks to manipulate the sprites, which were letters in this case, we had to make it so that each letter in the name Dean would appear one after another in order while adding a lasting effect such as changing color or shape of the letter to whatever was needed. The issue had been that the A sprite had no effect or transitioned into its place, so we had to find a way to solve this. This example was my project. For this project, we had to make a Pong game. As the title suggests, by this time we had a fair amount of skill and can work more efficiently as we're getting used to using Scratch. This was another one of my projects, and for the Pong game I chose my theme to be band, hence the name Band Pong. We had some tips such as how to make the Pong game work, and we had to do all sorts of tasks such as randomize the angle in which the ball would bounce, and how to make the pad be controlled by the mouse, and more. At this point we had learned from this how the user can interact with coding and such directly. The next website that we'd use would be VexCode VR. VexCode VR is a coding and programming tool that allows students to program a virtual robot using pre-made codes. This program allows students to make the robot perform certain actions such as how to use loops, repeats, and command sequences. Some of the projects that use VexCode included getting the robot to make its way through a maze, draw shapes, and even a house, and move when it sensed objects or colors. Moving away from the coding that we learned, the next major subject we learned about was projections regarding structures and engineering. By taking a 3D model as shown on the top image, we had to look for the top, front, and side views based on what was presented. We had used rulers to draw out each measurement based on the information given from the example. As you can see, each view from the top, front, and side line up together as each corresponds to each other as certain lines and sides share the same measurements. This image here gives us a closer, clearer look on how everything lines up as stated before. As you can see, a solid line in one view could be a side in another view, but each line matches up perfectly. A quick note, where there were hidden lines, we placed a dashed line to represent there was a surface behind the face you were seeing in one view, as seen in the side view in the bottom right corner of the sketch. We can also see that it lines up as well, all according to the model. This type of engineering gave us a sort of insight on structures and how to sketch them out for planning. They're called 3-view drawings because of their top, front, and side views. Each 3-view in this presentation was created by me. SketchUp is a free 3D modeling software that students can use to turn their 3-view drawings into 3D models. Using a variety of tools that can be used for multiple functions, such as creating arches, circles, and rectangles, extending and moving shapes around, changing the material of the object, and adding dimensions. These tools all help students' models be more detailed and precise. One of the projects utilizing SketchUp was the creation of 3D models of chess pieces. These chess pieces were complex shapes which needed a great understanding of how to use the 3D modeling tools in order to create them while still looking satisfactory. Creating the knight piece was one of the more challenging assignments of this project. as unlike the other previous pieces, its body was not one uniform shape and its head was a very complex shape, more so than the previous ones, as it is meant to be shaped like a horse. The bridge design project was made after researching civil engineering and the different forces, structures, and basic ideas used in it, such as columns, braces, dynamic and static load, tension, compression, torsion, and other such forces and concepts. The bridge design, which was made using the West Point Bridge Designer software, was a project for students to design and create their own bridge that could function well while being as cheap as possible. Students had to consider how the different forces would act on the bridge, which materials to use, the size and types of tubes to use to make the bridge, and where to place joints, all the while keeping in mind the cost of the bridge, which would ideally cost $205,000 or less. Well, it looks like that's all we really have for you today. In short, we went over all the major projects that we had done over the course of our Concepts of Engineering class. From coding to 3D models to bridge designing, we still have a ways to go before we finish this course. Each subject taught us something new and important about engineering. We hope you understand just what we've been doing in our class, and hope you enjoyed looking into everything we've done so far. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.